Ba, ba, ba. Okay, back to English. I refuse to speak German in my recordings. I just want to explain words. I don't know. I just have to get back into walking, because standing a lot makes my ankle hurt more, actually. Which makes sense because pressure is building up, and then you start walking and you're working the pressure out again. I'm just gonna keep holding the camera like this. I don't feel like talking. I'm just doing it so that I have a stock. Okay. I have to first get into it, which is always an important step in the creative process. It's about, okay, what do I actually want to say? What wants to come out? I just had a long conversation. It felt long. But I also need to advertise certain ideas to people so that they start paying more attention to their behaviors. I mean, I make experiments with myself, right? Just like when I ate that chicken. And it's important to say that I'm not advertising eating chicken. I'm advertising if you feel like eating chicken, because you feel like you need to understand what the effect is of chicken. Because, I mean, just look at society. You know, people are sick. And some people need to learn why they are sick so that they can do better work. Emotional sadhana work, dharma, I don't know, right? In the end, it's your own choice. The chicken is very important in my own development, because what I realized is that I ate the chicken, and 1 week later I could still smell it when I was defecating on the toilet. Well, I would have also smelled it if I would have defecated in the forest, but I defecated on the toilet, and it still smelled like the chicken. So, and then you have to ask yourself, what are you actually eating, and where is it coming from? How are these animals being kept? And is there a difference between animal and plant spirits? Well, I think what we can agree on is that animals have different requirements from plants. I mean, you can have a plant in a pot and it may, you may actually give it what it needs just by paying attention. I mean, you don't have to go for walks with a plant. But an animal like a chicken that's being kept in a cage to, just lay eggs, which has been bred, I mean, there's still spirit in the chicken. And the spirit can be sad and sick and all kinds of stuff, I think we can agree at least on these things, Animals should walk around, they should run around. I mean, a calf should be, there are so many things, I say calf and I think of calves and I think of, oh wow, I only spent 4 days inside. So it felt, of course, an eternity, resting my legs a little because of what happened with my ankle. And yesterday I went for a long walk for the first time and my calves were so hard. And the question is, how can you explain these things? Well, it's almost impossible to explain this. And why do I say it's impossible to explain it? Well, because to me it is, in a way. To me it is impossible to explain it. Because technically I only spent 3 or 4 or 5 days, I don't remember, inside resting. Maybe it was 3. And I can feel my calves even now. And a calf should be outside on a meadow with family. Not meadow, but also forests. It's a fantasy to believe that, cows should live on meadows. They are also browsers. They don't just eat grass, they also eat leaves. They eat all kinds of things. And people are being taught really weird things in this life. And boah, jetzt muss ich überlegen. Ding, ding, ding. Stadtfahrt. Ja, genau. Alter. Apparently another upside down video. Can't really say. All I can say is I'm on my way, I'm rolling again, and then you meet people. Of course, it's a Sunday. And it's nice to see that there are people that are hiking. Yeah, I still have work to do in other places, which is why I simply have to keep going and find what I lost somewhere. Supposedly, perhaps a friend. Supposedly, perhaps something else. I have things to do, and people are on the lookout. That's the truth. Sometimes I meet people and they really, it's like almost they look forward to meeting me, and then they meet me and then I just dump all this knowledge onto them, which I would label as wisdom almost. Yeah, I think it's fairly safe to say it's wisdom because I've looked long and hard for it. And if you meet me, I'm just gonna dump shit onto you just to keep you going. You see, so if people start wanting to see me again, I'll just dump more stuff onto you, and let's just see how your life is going to change in the meantime, right? I mean, just watch one video and just see what happens, because it's probably not just what I'm saying with words, it's what my spirit is saying to you, because there are beings that basically, I'm just gonna say it, just emanate truth. And actors and phony people, they emanate lies, or they try to hide the truth, which is that they are phony. And so there are sometimes messages that I receive when I meet other beings. They say something with words, they say something with words, and then I leave, and then I hear a voice in my head, that's literally how it is, and it says, we just wanted to save you from some women. I don't know, I mean, what does that mean? So, there are women that are on the lookout for me. I mean, you have to understand that the way I see myself is different from the way other people would see me. I go into nature a lot. I have done my homework to a certain degree, and I'm still doing it, which is why I appear clean in relation to other people. The way I communicate is entirely different from other people. This is important to understand, that I have been trained by life in how to speak with people that I don't know, right? Exactly. People that don't know anything, and that also don't want to know. I wanted to know, and once I knew, people started to be afraid that I was going insane, and sometimes I was afraid I was going insane. But insanity or madness, it actually comes in waves. It's just like energy, energy piles up. If you don't do anything with it, if you hold on to it, it's gonna drive you mad, believe me. You have to let it flow. You have to let it flow down the river. It has to go into the ocean. You are not the ocean. You are probably one drop of water that's traveling towards the ocean. And when you think you are it all, and you hold on to all the energy that's available in the universe because you want to keep it to yourself, you're gonna destroy yourself. You may get obese, or you may start punching your head. And before I do that, right, I sometimes sit at home and I feel like I just want to punch my head because it's too much. I cannot quiet my mind. And then I simply start making art. I start recording something, I start speaking about these things. And what you have to understand is, not everybody can do this, right? Not everybody can do what I am doing. And I think, I could only record videos in sunshine, and then you have the feeling it's always summer, right? But if it's always summer, when is it ever gonna rain, right? When is it ever gonna rain? And yesterday I watched Rick and Morty, and then I thought, maybe I should get rid of it and just never touch it again. But the truth is, I just like Rick as a character, just running around, flipping his finger at everyone. There's a certain truth to it. Because what does the middle finger really represent? I mean, if you can live it, I don't have to show my middle finger to anyone. But my art is saying it. I'm in the middle, people. Don't you get it? You're all biased. You're all unbalanced. I'm channeling it into art, people, you know, that's the middle finger. And that's what's so nice, you know, about really waking up, working with your fears. You know, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't mean, is what I have to say, you don't have fear anymore. It just means that you know how to deal with it. And you learned to find solutions. And here we are. And here you are, possibly listening to this, which is probably an act of courage, considering the way I've been going nuts on the internet. I mean, you don't know who I am. I mean, I meet people, I can stretch out conversations, because what people often have to realize that I'm not really interested in what other people have to say, because I'm here to say things. And that's true, right? I just got a lot of chocolate croissants, you know? Lick, lick, lick my balls! Cinematic! Yeah, I know, you'll have to familiarize yourself. I would love to go. I would love to go hiking somewhere else, but I don't do it because I feel it's too much. And although I do feel good about, you know, I'm getting my strength back in my left leg, which is still the question, you know, why it happened, or why I was supposed to let it happen. You know, that's the truth. Sometimes my life wants me to injure myself. Sometimes my life wants me to injure myself. Sometimes my life wants me to fall, right? Deliberately. And I'm just letting it happen, you know? I know it's gonna happen. And then I'm just gonna do it. And, you know, that's a challenge. That's like, holy smokes. Holy spokesperson. Holy smokes, spokesperson. What's going on? How can I live with myself after eating that chicken? Well, I can. But I can also say, yeah, next time I think I want to eat beef. And maybe I'm just gonna live vegetarian. Yeah, at the moment I cannot go everywhere I want to go, because I have big business. I have to do the posts. I have to post on Instagram, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. And I just continue. I don't know, I think there's people that know who I am, but I don't know who you are. And you know, what am I supposed to say to that? You know, you're just a random guy to me, right? You're just a random guy to me, and I can't help it that people know who I am. Why do you feel like you have to hate? Yeah, okay, there's this woman that I've been talking about. Her name is Louisa. And I felt like she, you know, I have to love her. I felt like she's good for me. And I don't think that... Yeah, now a voice says you have to stop listening to your mother. Right? You have to stop listening to your mother. Just believe me, from my own experience, mothers aren't only there to make you happy. They want to keep you to themselves. And that's true. That's truth. That's simply the way it is. People are just a little bit crazy. And I sometimes don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I also don't want to judge mothers or fathers. I don't want to judge really anyone, but sometimes I have to. And all I can say is that from my own experience, if I go and I feel like I just want to talk about these things. And maybe you just have to figure it out for yourself. You see, I fell in love with a woman. Let's just keep calling her a young girl. I don't know how she changed in the meantime. But if you live life, it's probably going to change you into a woman or into a man. And it may take longer. And it may take less long. But time's relative, so however long it takes, right? It's the amount of time it needed to happen. And if I go to my mother and I say to her, not just my mother, basically anyone, and I say to these people, I fell in love with someone. And then they say, well, where is she? Well, she's not here. Well, she's not it. They literally talk me out of it, because if there's another woman in my life, they're going to, but that's also, okay, if they think you're ready, they're going to be happy if you find someone. But what you also have to understand is that mothers don't want their children to get injured over and over again. And what people don't understand is, that because everybody's different, maybe people are afraid to open their hearts, right? If I meet a friend, I can still be open. I may not want to exchange numbers and talk to you again, but what does it matter to you? I can still be friendly when we meet. I generally try to be open upon meeting other people. And every time I actually go to see also my family, I'm actually happy that I did. I don't do so all the time, but today I have a reason, which is I have to let go of these Instagram posts. But the truth is, at the same time, I actually feel like I have no time, which is weird. And then it says you have to make time for the things that are important to you. You see, enjoy it until the next car comes. The stories are telling themselves. Just because you know who I am doesn't make me your friend. Because you don't know who I am. Because you wouldn't talk to me if you did. Just because you know that I'm on YouTube and you've seen me make coffee in my apartment doesn't mean I'm gonna be friendly towards you. Because I don't have time for you. Because I'm busy. Do you get it? It's like that line in one of the songs from Chris Webby, where it's like he's singing about that he's in some kind of strip bar, and then the strippers smell the money, you know, and one of them comes to him and he says, you know, hold on, you know, I'm busy texting my accountant, which basically means I don't have time for you, right? I don't waste my money on things like this because I don't pay for love. Do you get it? Right? You simply continue your life and you live it the best you can. You know, you awaken and you still have to continue living your life. You know, what's enlightenment? It may be just one vision, one realization, one ray of hope, you know, one truth. You know, there are many more enlightenments. You know, who says the Buddha enlightened and then what? Well, do you think it ever stops? You know? Because you still realize more things day after day after day. Your job is to realize and let go, to simply hand out trinkets to other seekers. Because that's why you were awoken, because we need conscious people in this world that learn to speak truth again, to connect to their hearts and to the message that wants to come out, and then to communicate like this with others. You know, it's important that each of us does this on their own, because you know, you can only truly know or feel who you are, I mean, to a certain extent, when you're alone in nature, wherever you are. You know, you can remember, once you know how you feel like your middle, you know, that's the middle finger. Yeah, the middle finger of creation. You know, it's like you're in the center, right? And the truth about society is that it's a pile of shit. But there are always societies, and that's what we should remember. I believe there were never times where everybody was living like the elves. You know, there's always orcs. There may be times where the shadows are being pushed to the periphery of existence. Oh, wow! How can you say shit like this? To the periphery of existence. You know? To the furthest reaches. Oh, wow! Now I'm getting to reading books again. I mean, what kind of books have I been reading as a child? There are German authors, I think. They're called Holbein. H-O-H-L-B-E-I-N. They were certainly translated into other languages. Holbein. And they wrote incredible stories for teenagers and I would say young adults, but quite dark, little to no truth. But that's not true, because what I feel like is that you have to learn how to speak the language of truth, the language of emotion. You know, this is something you have to want to know. I wanted to know because I thought, I mean, what people are saying life is just terrible. I mean, people are saying they're happy, but their spirit is already dying. And that's why people like me start to appear everywhere on this world. Basically the shamans, because we need people like me. I mean, don't you know the stories? How in the Dark Ages, witches were burned at the stake and thrown into rivers to see if they can float, and then science took over. I mean, the church killed people like me. That's what you have to understand. You know, what's witchcraft? You know, what's a witch? Well, it's the lady that lives in the forest, and that's either, you know, good or evil, and that's true. And, you know, let's say you've got a good witch that makes herbs and creates spells, which is basically focusing, you know, your intent. And your intent can be good or evil as well. And you focus your intent on, you know, this or that. You can focus your intent or your, you know, on somebody else's well-being, or you focus your intent on somebody else's non-well-being. And depending on, you know, the way you've been aligned, you know, because maybe if there are too many good people, you know, life gets boring, you know, and then bad people are gonna appear. But maybe nobody's ever really good. I mean, I could do something horrible, you know, at any moment. You know, I can walk around and I can be super nice. But if you overstep my boundaries, right, then I have to defend myself. And there's always people, if everybody's too nice, then someone will come around at some point and just start overstepping boundaries. You know, and that's like one step at a time, right? You know, maybe your neighbor just oversteps some boundaries, and then that son's neighbor oversteps even more boundaries, and his children, you know, they overstep even more boundaries, and then one of his children just becomes Hitler. You know, I'm just saying, you know, boundaries have to be set so that we don't have more Hitlers. But you cannot avoid these things, because, you know, let's say Putin leaves, you know, I don't know who Putin is. Is he good? Is he bad? Right? I mean, he's there. You know, I don't live with him. I don't know what kind of thoughts he has or what kind of laws he does. You know, is he really raging war against Ukraine? You know, I have no idea. It's just a completely different level of the game. And so is my game. I mean, whatever the, you know, if the ego exists, which I doubt, you know, it's just a word. Because the truth is that your actions show who you are. So, if you have thoughts that, you know, like, let's say you want to shave your cat, why? Yeah, because you want to dominate her. You want to overpower your cat. Because you feel like maybe you've been mobbed too much, and then you let it out on others. It's like in that movie. There's a movie. I don't remember. Wait. It's called. I think it's even. It's not called. Is it called Depression? No. It may be. It's with the actor from the King Kong. Oh, I just want to say Donkey Kong, from the King Kong movie that Peter Jackson made, the one with the long nose. He also plays in Darjeeling Limited, very good movie. And he, okay, what does he do? Well, I can almost tell you. There's a movie, and the story is as follows. Oh yeah. Let's tell the world that somebody's danger. You know, I'm a good guy. I'm saving people. Yeah, you're giving me a headache. You know, so is an ambulance really good? Because you're giving me a headache. You're contributing to symptoms of stress, which is why it's your job to deal with them. Right? I think I've said enough. Okay, life. Wait. You know, life is a real test. Life is a real test. I'm not sure yet. Anything can happen at any time. While I walk here, a car could stop and a woman could jump out and she could say, "I've been looking for you everywhere." And then suddenly, you know, she just says, "Can I live with you?" And I would say, "Yeah, you can, you know, if you manage, but I've got work to do." Well, and then she'd probably say, "Well, so do I." And I say, you know, can you come to an understanding with the woman that you feel like has been placed into your life to be your wife? To me, it's very hard because a lot of stuff has happened. If she would suddenly, you know, I often go through these things in my mind. Yeah, there's something in my left foot, like, you know, I think you're just gonna let it happen. You know, because I've worked enough. You know, my content is ready. You know, this is, you know, we're in April now. I finished March. And this is the 24th, I think, of September. So, you know, I mean, but I cannot get this out at the moment because I still feel a weakness in my ankle that I'm simply trying to walk out. You just have to be conscious about walking. You just have to be conscious about everything. If a woman comes to my life and if she really wants me, and that's what I'm asking of her, you know, if you're uncertain about being with me, don't even try, because I'm just gonna topple you over and you're just gonna land on your back and start crying or something. Because, you know, my life's tough. If you want to be a part of my life, there are certain requirements which are, I don't know, you know, I just think that a man and a woman should be together then. So if I go somewhere, you know, I would very much like it if my wife would come with me. But okay, if I go and make a recording, you know, would she come with me? Well, my point of view is, why would I want to be with a woman if she does not want to be with me all the time? Everybody's different, you see. What I feel like is that women do better when they are with their men. I mean, there are women that just want to be with their husband or their lover all the time. Right? That's a good point. Oh wow, this feels so much better. You know, if I could walk on forest trails all the time, I would have less problems with my ankles, with my spine, with basically everything. Concrete is terror for the spirit. And that's a very good point. Concrete is terror for the spirit. I'm trying to project fear into my life where there is none. So it may be that I'm really afraid, but I just relish the idea of fear. To just, you know, I just want an excuse to be just a bit of a dick, or a real dick sometimes. You know, sometimes I just want a bit of an excuse to push people around, because, you know, if you once took me for granted, you know, to me that's like, it's open for debate. You know, oh yeah, you want to take me for granted? You want to flip me the finger? You want to scream at me? You know, you think you have the right to be righteous? Okay, I can turn this around. I tried to play this nice. Maybe I wasn't always... I think I was really nice. But you just dumped all your shit on me. And you just thought, you know, I'm just gonna blame you for everything. And that basically summarizes a lot of the people that I met. Oh wow, it's super nice now. You know, that summarizes a lot of the people that I met. It summarizes a lot of the people that I met. Some people take me for granted, but I still appreciate them, and that's the really weird thing. I mean, okay, this is the first real forest trail that I'm taking. I'm just giving you my time. If you still don't understand what I'm doing here, I'm just your shoulder to cry on, if you will, without being able to really judge you. I may pick up on future viewers, because time is relative. While I'm recording this, I may feel like saying certain things because I'm being guided to communicate with others, because everything happens at the same time, and that's what people forget. You know, the stories that we hear about Jesus are basically the same thing that is happening now. You think Jesus was just one guy? That's just a projection of a shaman, of a truth seeker. And we're just, we've just been projecting it onto one guy so that we can, let go of responsibility. But this has been happening, this has been happening with the pharaohs. Who are the pharaohs these days? Well, they look different, but they're the same. Power-hungry monarchs. Putin is basically the pharaoh. Call him Tutankhamun. Wasn't he the guy, or was it Echnaton? One of these child emperor pharaohs that we still try to kind of worship. What is the story about these guys? I think it was Echnaton, I'm not quite sure. He wanted to declare that there's only one God. Yeah, and people got rid of him pretty quickly. You see? They got rid of Trump pretty quickly. And how am I supposed to say as an outsider what Trump really did? What am I supposed to say on this matter? It's too far away. And I mean, yeah, sure, he was sitting there and he was holding up his middle finger and stroking his brow with it. But please answer the question. People said, yeah, he's our savior and Truth Social. Yeah, what's the truth? You screwed up, man. You were supposed to be some kind of president, and people had faith in you. But you didn't do this to help or heal the nation. No, you did it so that you could sit at home and think, oh wow, I'm the awesome president. But I mean, also what we have to understand is there aren't just bad people in the governments. I mean, we are always trying to act like governments are really bad. But what people don't understand, we think, all you have to do is you go and vote. That's like Germany, it's a democracy, you vote a party, and they try to do what the people want. And then the industry releases products, and the people buy it. I mean, nobody forced you to buy an electric car or a scooter, and here you are driving around with one. Nobody forced you to have a couch and watch TV. You're just doing it because, I don't know, you just wanted to do something. You know, nobody forced anyone to do anything, you know. If a large majority of the Germans wouldn't have joined in with the Nazis, there would have been no Holocaust. But they did it, and that's the free will, because they were afraid for their own life. So they either joined in, you know, they could have, if they would have all banded together, they could have just said, fuck it, I'm not gonna make weapons for you anymore. But as long as there are people, you know, who value getting money more than anything else, then, you know, it's like, we have to stop chasing money all the time, right? Because what people like me may show to the world is that there's more value to life than just money. You know, people may give you money if they think they can learn something from you, but there's no guarantee that, you know, if you start creating content on YouTube, that people are going to follow you. Because it's not, you know, it's not just for fun. You know, to me, this is serious business. And some people, they think, oh yeah, you know, now I figured it out. I'm just gonna create content and I'm just gonna be famous. Yeah, maybe, but what are you gonna give to the world? Are you gonna give to the world, you know, the you that's just throwing millions of plastic balls into, let's call it, you know, millions of plastic balls into a fake lake because your parents have money, or you got money because you started getting famous on YouTube and that's what you use it for? More plastic, great. Why don't you buy land and give it to the people and say, you know, populate it? Well, because you don't want to do that. You rather just throw plastic balls into a lake and drive around with, I don't know, hovercrafts. You know, this is just stupid. It's just so stupid. But people are watching it, and then you go and you invite them and you, I don't know, have guns that shoot t-shirts into the crowd. I don't know. What does the t-shirt stand for? What do you stand for? You know, I stand for do it yourself. Be true to how you feel. So if I don't feel like speaking about certain things, I just don't speak about them. Do you think I record this content? Well, why do I record this content? Because at the moment that's what I can do. And because art takes a lot of time. There's always a part in me that hates this. Because it's work, and work is effort. Quoting Jerry, life is effort and it'll stop when I die. Of course it's an effort. It's an effort to leave the house. It's an effort to learn how to speak truth. Because you have to connect with your emotional self. And that thing may be living in hell, which is why you stuff yourself with pizza every night. Which is why you watch all these movies. So you can get a laugh out of yourself. Because there's just, you know, your life is shit. But, I mean, why don't you start watching movies? You know, you watch movies anyway, and once you hear this, you won't be able to forget that I said it. I'm just gonna drive you insane anyway. Which is, You know, it's not, yeah, okay, I think it could. Because I had this. I have moments in my life where I said, I don't have this anymore. Because I started taking responsibility for the way I feel. And I started making active choices that were focusing on a goal. And I started to choose, right? I had the intent to heal. And here I am. You know, being active in the community doesn't just mean that you're gonna barbecue. It means that, you know, when you go and you barbecue, you know, you're in communion with spirit and with everybody around you, which is why you're going to pour your love and your presence and your attention into barbecuing instead of standing there with your phone in your hands. Which is why, in a way, of course, you know, this is hard. At the same time, I'm walking, holding the stick, carrying the weight of myself, carrying the weight of my choices, carrying the weight of my sorrows, carrying the weight of stuff in my backpack, carrying the burden of being alive, you know, and then making sure that I don't injure my ankle or further injure it, and at the same time hold the camera and speak. And then try to lose track, right, of certain things. You know, it's a step by step, one step at a time. You start watching movies, you like watching movies, you get bored of movies, you pick movies up again as a habit because you say, wait, what have I been watching all these years? I still feel like, you know, there's so much time. How am I gonna fill it? You know, how am I gonna fill it? How am I gonna fill it? Well, I have news for you. You can still watch movies and then just try to listen how you feel about the messages that these movies are giving to humanity. I mean, what is the true message of Truman Show? What is the true message of Marvel movies? People are looking for heroes, but they're looking for it on a sofa, which makes no sense because the hero you're looking for, right, is looking inside of me. And now a voice says, why are you trying to let go of me? Because you've been causing nothing but trouble in my life. And because I do not appreciate women in my presence that just take me for granted, that start crying if I don't have sex with them. You know, maybe that's taking care of yourself, it's possible, but it's impossible to be with a woman that likes to torture men simply by, I don't know what I have to say about this. You know, it's like some questions just appear out of nowhere. You watch a movie, you feel safe, and suddenly there's one image that brings up a childhood memory, and you start crawling into a ball of suffering, and you think, I don't know. I don't want to go. What I certainly don't want to do is post images. I hate these kinds of dogs. I mean, I'm just saying, I just hate these kinds of dogs. I mean, Because they're just unnatural. They're just unnatural. Why can't you just, I don't know, get a real wolf? Or just, take care of yourself. I mean, times are over where we can talk ourselves and each other into the belief that having a dog is going to improve your life. Because if you can't get yourself to hike, then why should a dog do this? In order for a dog to get you to hike, there have to be people that breed dogs, and then you want a specific kind of dog, No, it shouldn't be a dog from the streets. Well, if you cannot rehabilitate a dog that's been, taken in from the streets, you shouldn't have a dog at all. That's my opinion. And sure, you could say, well, yeah, there's people that benefit. Yeah, but what's the cost of us breeding dogs? What's the cost of us watching movies? What's the cost of us wearing shoes? What's the cost of us having phones? Like, what is you watching this video through a phone? What's the cost of me filming myself with a camera and posting it online to the entire world, to the ecosystem on the world? Well, you could say I'm just doing it because that's how life is at the moment. And I'm just trying to reach out to some people, so we can start, not making sense, because that's science's job, to talk themselves into the belief that they understood it, while everything they do clearly shows that they did not understand it. Yeah, I think my way is cut out to go to the park. It's the day now, it's sunny, Why should I go to my parents all the time? I'm just saying, sometimes you just have to pack your things and leave, Sometimes, I don't know, what is the effect I have on people? Do they watch this and think it's funny? Because the pain in my left foot is real. And the burden on my back is real. It's like 6 to 7 kilos. Like, make it 8. And carry that for the amount of time that I carry it. Well, you will understand why I have a staff now. Because the suffering I carry is real. I'm often on the verge of tears. But what I do is I let my sadness and my suffering flow into my actions, which is not sitting around crying about stuff. It's moving on. It's, figuring out what strength is. It's just living your life the way you imagine it to be and realizing, what can I do to help humanity heal? Well, you can, what is a sweat hut? And how can we use them to detox humanity? Because you just have to take one look at one random street in a city, and what you will see is that people are sick. They don't know how to move. They don't even know how to, be honest about anything. All you see is fake smiles and a wrinkle around the eyes. That's Chris Webby. I don't know. He started to, the first albums he made, I had the feeling, were more like the hidden middle finger, like right in your face. But that's basically how I started. And as I actually never started like this, I just started speaking truth. That's how my podcast started. The very first episode, Perspective. That's basically what it is about. It's just about being honest about how I feel. So if you feel angry, then you're going to speak angry truth. And if you feel in love, you know, but what do we need? We need men and women that know how to hold and maintain their own space. You know, this is where I feel safe in my own presence, right? So that when I'm alone at home, you know, instead of giving in to taking my own life, I will do something else, which is I will see how I can contribute to life in general. Call this humanity if you like. Call this whatever you like. But that's where I started seeing my own value. You know, I started working with my fear of death. And to certain degrees I've been liberated. And I realized I have a lot of trust in whatever, in life or God or I don't know, in energy, in the law of attraction, you know, in spirituality, I don't know. But the reason I have this is not just because I have it, it's also because I found it in other people. I found what I speak about in other people. And just because, you know, the mass media doesn't talk about people hearing voices and meditative practices, you know, paying 10 euros or 20 for a yoga class will not help you meditate better. It's just gonna make you follow instructions. You know, if you want to be liberated, you have to start following your own feelings, which is why what I do or try to do, like if I do it, I do intuitive yoga. So I feel myself into the poses and the postures, and you know, I do what comes easy to me, which may be something different than what comes to you, which is why, you know, other people may never understand why I walk barefoot. But to me, it was just the obvious thing to do. I wanted to know it, and I never even, you know, why me? Well, that's what I think we safely can call acceptance.